All right, guys, welcome back to the all-time fantasy WrestleMania cards per the decade. So now we're looking at WrestleMania 21 to WrestleMania 30. Um, yeah, this was a very good card as well. I'll say the challenge for me was finding good title matches. Because a lot of these matches in WrestleMania at this time were non-title matches that were the great matches. So that was a little difficulty. I do not have a tag team title or intercontinental or women's title match here. I do have a road title match. But yeah, that was kind of the difficulty here. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about WrestleMania 21. So yeah, you have a few good options here. Obviously, Money in the Bank ladder match was great, but I think it just takes too many people off the card. It's people I'll need later, like Edge, Chris Jericho. So so that was tough. Taker versus Randy. It was a good match, but obviously Taker has something a bit better to do, so I won't use that one. And yeah, so you got to choose the best match on the card, which is obviously Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle, which is good because Kurt doesn't have another WrestleMania. Like he has WrestleMania 22, but he doesn't have like another classic because that was his last one. I think WrestleMania 22, it was okay, but it wasn't like a Kurt Angle 5-star level match. And so Kurt versus Shawn. First off, you get the build of this match. With started at the Royal Rumble, and obviously Kurt saying he could do everything Shawn did. He fought Marty Jannetty. He did the sexy Kurt, iconic, and Shawn had a nice cameo where he was pretending to be a cameraman and he attacked Kurt Angle. So you get that build, a part of it, and obviously the match here was amazing. You have Shawn's springboard moonsault onto the announce table, which was amazing. What else we have here? Obviously, Kurt Angle doing the running angle slam was amazing. Kickouts of the angle slam and the sweet chin music, and obviously Shawn tapping out to Kurt Angle after minutes in the ankle lock, which was crazy. So, um, yeah, this was again probably a top 10 WrestleMania match of all time in my opinion, and to have it on the card only makes sense. The only tough thing was again Shawn has a lot of other matches. Him versus Cena, him versus Flair, him versus Taker, 1 and 2. So you kind of have that on the card. But thinking that Angle didn't have as much matches, I thought this was the right match to choose. So WrestleMania 21, Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle. WrestleMania 22. So my selection was the hardcore match, Mick Foley versus Edge. Like I said, that's why I couldn't really use the Money in the Bank match from WrestleMania 21. Also, Mick Foley does not wrestle at WrestleMania again, so this was good. And, looking at Edge's WrestleMania history, he was in big matches, but, um, him versus Taker, but I have Taker doing something else. And then his other title matches were just okay, him versus Del Rio, him versus Jericho, him versus Cena and Big Show. They were just okay. So I thought this was definitely the best match to choose. And this was probably the best match at WrestleMania 22. Again, the build here was great. When, Mick Foley was special guest referee for Edge and Cena. And, Edge thought, he cost, Mick Foley cost him the match here. And, he said he wants to face the hardcore legend. And yeah, so they get the match here. Lita's involvement in the feud was great as well. And of course, everyone remembers the flaming table spot, which was amazing, amazing. But you also have underrated spots where you have Edge hits Foley with a spear, but he has barbed wire wrapped around him, so Edge started bleeding on his arm. Thumbtack spot, and even Mick Foley giving the Socko to Lita with the barbed wire wrapped around it was pretty crazy. So yeah, you get all that violence and you get an iconic moment with the flaming table. So WrestleMania 22 hardcore match, Mick Foley versus Edge. WrestleMania 23. So I end up going with Battle of the Billionaires, Bobby Lashley versus Umaga. I just think, Donald Trump at the time, he was very popular, and this brought a lot of media attention, celebrity involvement here. So Austin was the referee. Obviously, Lashley and Umaga are not big stars. They're stars, but they're not like the biggest stars in the industry. But still, we still have Vince there, Shane there, Trump, Austin. I think this is the match to choose. The title matches for both Raw and SmackDown that year were very good, but again, Shawn, Taker, they have something a bit better to do. So even Cena has something better. So couldn't really use all that. And the other option would probably be Money in the Bank, but I had too much talent in there. So I thought, yeah, Battle of the Billionaires is definitely the way to go. You get the celebrity involvement. And yeah, it was a pretty good match as well. Lashley and Umaga, these guys could go. So WrestleMania 23, Battle of the Billionaires, Bobby Lashley versus Umaga with Stone Cold Steve Austin as special guest referee. WrestleMania 24. So I chose the no holds barred match, Floyd Mayweather versus the Big Show. Again, there's other options again, but couldn't use Shawn and Flair because I already used Shawn. Edge and Taker again would have been good, but again, I used Edge in the hardcore match, which I think makes sense, and I have Taker again for something a bit better. So yeah, this was definitely the match to go. This was probably one of the best celebrity matches of all time before like Bad Bunny started doing like Canadian Destroyers and all that. But yeah, obviously the build was great at No Way Out, where Floyd punched Big Show in the face after Big Show said, "Yeah, hit me with your best shot," and then they had the Floyd run in the crowd, Big Show going after him. So there's definitely some realism there. Yeah, this was a very fun match. Again, shout out to Big Show. He's always willing to do what's right for the company, and yeah, great ending with the brass knuckles. Big Show gets knocked out. So yeah, even more celebrity involvement here, which would definitely help this card. WrestleMania 25. All right. So there are a few options here. Taker and Shawn, obviously, but I chose to split them up to have, again, two other great matches. Jeff versus Matt was definitely an option. I was definitely thinking about it. Extreme Rules. But I ended up going with Chris Jericho versus the Legends, Steamboat, Piper, and Snuka. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it wasn't like the greatest match. It was okay, but just the storytelling here of Jericho. Again, you get more celebrity involved. You got Mickey Warwick there. You got Ric Flair as well there. So, yeah, I mean, I just thought Jericho deserved to be on the card here. I didn't really have him no other option. Unfortunately, even in the last card, he missed out. So I wanted to get Jericho on this card. And then you get Ricky Simo, Piper, again, these legends, Jimmy Snuka on the card here as well. You get the name power here. You get good storytelling and a good rivalry, with Jericho talking bad about the legends and all that. And Jericho was just in his prime at this time with his promos. So, yeah. WrestleMania 25 handicap match, Chris Jericho versus Ricky Steamboat, Roddy Piper, and Jimmy Snuka. All right, WrestleMania 26. Again, this was a bit tough. There wasn't as much options here just because, I couldn't use Shawn and Taker. And then Cena had something in the title match. I was thinking about this, but yeah, I couldn't. I needed Cena for something else for sure. World Heavyweight title, Edge and Jericho, I already used them. Money in the Bank, yeah, took too many guys, so I couldn't do that. So I ended up doing Triple H versus Sheamus. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best match on the card. It was a solid match still, and obviously, you need Triple H on the card. I wanted to do a match with him at WrestleMania 30, but I didn't have a title match if I did that. So that's why I couldn't do that. So I did Triple H, Sheamus. Nice build here. Obviously, the young stud trying to take out the legend, and yeah, good match. Triple H gets the win. He's on the card here, so nice. All right, WrestleMania 27. This was another tough one to find a match here. Obviously you're not going to use the main event. It wasn't really a good match. Even the world title match, I already used Edge. Taker and Triple H, again, it's another option, but again, I'm using both for something else, so couldn't do that. So yeah, I went with Rey Mysterio versus Cody Rhodes. I think it was a really good match here. I mean, the build was cool with Rey bloodying Cody's nose, and Cody had to wear that mask. So it was a good build to the storyline, and obviously knowing what we know about Cody Rhodes now, it's kind of cool that he's on this card. And it was a really solid match. Ray's always good at having solid matches. He never usually gets time to put on like a 5-star match, but he always has like a nice 3-star to 3.5-star match. So WrestleMania 27, Rey Mysterio versus Cody Rhodes. All right, WrestleMania 28. This was easy. The Rock versus John Cena. Once in a lifetime. Not really, but at the time, it was a big match. The Rock gets the shocking win here, and this was like the most hype match, I feel like, because they hyped it for over in a year. They had all these video packages. They had all these music performances. And I think the match did deliver. I thought it was a really good match here. You get the great ending where Cena's trying to mock The Rock, going for the people's elbow. Rock catches him in the rock bottom, 1, 2, 3. And then you got Cena sitting on the ramp, which is a pretty iconic WrestleMania image. So yeah, I mean, Cena had a few options as well. I could have did him versus Batista at 26. Him versus Shawn at 23. Him versus Hunter at 22. But this was definitely the match that you have to choose. Especially because, this is the only time you can get The Rock on the card. Obviously, you could use Cena and Rock next year, but that takes the title match away. And that match also wasn't as good as WrestleMania 28. Also, the build wasn't as good as well, So I think WrestleMania 28, Cena versus Rock, once in a lifetime, that was a no-brainer. So yeah, WrestleMania 28, The Rock versus John Cena. WrestleMania 29, a few options here. But I went Undertaker, CM Punk. This was the best match on that card. Again, Undertaker had a lot of options here, but just looking at WrestleMania 29 was one of the weaker WrestleManias. So I thought, this was the right time. And CM Punk, he had other good matches at WrestleMania, but this was his greatest match at WrestleMania. So it only makes sense to have both these guys on the card. Punk was just coming off the over the 1.5 year title reign. Taker, again, this was his last great WrestleMania match. So after this, he got concussed at WrestleMania 30, and then he wasn't really the same after that. So it's cool to get Taker's last great WrestleMania match. Even the build here, kind of controversial, but cool. With CM Punk mocking Paul Bearer and Undertaker trying to win in honor of Paul Bearer. So I thought that was cool. Even during the match, you had that spot where CM Punk hit Undertaker with the urn. So that was a nice false finish as well. And you also get CM Punk get a nice music performance for his entrance for the Cult of Personality, my bad. So yeah, again, the best match on this WrestleMania, kind of a no-brainer here. WrestleMania 30, this is where I have the title match, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan versus Batista. So yeah, guys, Daniel Bryan versus Triple H was probably the better match, but if I put this, then I couldn't really have a title match because 26 would have been Batista Cena, and I'm already using Cena versus The Rock. So I chose just to have this match instead. And I think it makes sense just to close the show here. And with, Daniel Bryan doing the yes with the confetti with both titles. WrestleMania turns into YesOmania, Miracle on Bourbon Street, all that good stuff. I mean, this match was really good. Obviously, you have the Batista bomb / RKO spot on Daniel Bryan, which was crazy. You have, Daniel Bryan, attacking the Authority, diving onto Triple H and Stephanie. And so that was cool. And then the ending where Batista taps out. Just a great WrestleMania moment here. And yeah, I mean, WrestleMania 30 Taker versus Lesnar for the moment would have been cool, but the match wasn't that good. I mean, aside from that, Cena versus Wyatt could have been an option, but again, Cena versus Rock, you're not gonna take that, over Cena versus Rock. So, WrestleMania 30, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan and Batista in a triple threat match. So yeah, guys, that is my card. Let me know what you guys think. I just think just looking at it, I have um at least five 4-star plus matches. I think Shawn versus Kurt. Some people say it could be 5 stars. Edge versus Foley. Yeah, probably 4.5 to be honest. Rock versus John Cena could be 4.5 stars. The Undertaker versus CM Punk, I'd say that was like 4.5 stars. And then even the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match could be 4.5 stars as well. So you got like five classic WrestleMania matches. And then uh, you got three amazing celebrity involvement. So, Battle of the Billionaires, you got again Trump at the time, super popular. Vince, the storytelling was great there. Austin was referee, and then WrestleMania 24, Floyd Mayweather, probably the biggest boxer at the time. And then WrestleMania 25, you have the legends, but you also have Mickey Warwick in there. Uh, at the end, feuding with Jericho. So I think just add those five great matches plus these three matches with all the celebrity involvement and all the great storytelling. And then you got two solid other matches, Triple H versus Sheamus. Obviously, it's not Triple H's best WrestleMania match of this decade, but still a really good match. You get him on the card. And then Rey Mysterio versus Cody. You get, legend Rey Mysterio on the card. And you got future legends, Sheamus and Cody Rhodes, future world champions. Actually, Sheamus was already world champion at the time, so he was also on the card. So yeah, guys. What would main event here? Would I go Rock versus Cena, or should I go the triple threat match? This one is a little tough. I think I would go the triple threat match though, just because the crowd reaction for Rock versus Cena wasn't like Rock versus Hogan, and I think everyone was behind Daniel Bryan at the time. So yeah, you're gonna ask me to choose a venue. I would probably choose New Orleans, WrestleMania 30, because they were a great crowd, Their shock for Taker versus Lesnar, and then obviously them cheering Daniel Bryan was great. Other options this year, WrestleMania 24, that was in Orlando, I believe. That was a nice crowd as well. WrestleMania 22 with Cena and Triple H with the fans. That's rowdy as well. But I would choose WrestleMania 30 as the venue, and I would have Daniel Bryan closing the show celebrating. So yeah, guys, let me run down the card for you one more time. WrestleMania 21, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels versus the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. WrestleMania 22 hardcore match, the hardcore legend Mick Foley versus the rated R superstar Edge. WrestleMania 23, the Battle of the Billionaires, Bobby Lashley representing Donald Trump versus Umaga representing Vince McMahon, special guest referee Stone Cold Steve Austin. Losing Billionaire must get their head shaved bald. WrestleMania 24, no holds barred match. Floyd Money Mayweather versus the largest athlete, The Big Show. WrestleMania 25 handicap match. Y2J Chris Jericho versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Roddy Piper, and Jimmy Snuka. WrestleMania 26 the game Triple H versus the Celtic Warrior Sheamus. WrestleMania 27 Rey Mysterio versus Cody Rhodes. WrestleMania 28 Once in a Lifetime the Great One, The Rock versus the champ, John Cena. WrestleMania 29. We have the Dead Man, The Undertaker versus the best in the world, CM Punk. And WrestleMania 30, we have for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the Viper, Randy Orton versus the Animal, Batista versus the leader of the Yes Movement, Daniel Bryan. So yeah, guys, that is my card from WrestleMania 21 to 30. I'm going to do one more card here, WrestleMania 31 to 40. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about this card. How would you make your card? And yeah, anything you would want to change. And yeah, looking forward to the next one. Peace.